So, welcome to another episode of Agent versus Lender. And today we're really excited to have Joshua Nichols with us, who is the broker of Focus Realty Group at Presidio Real Estate. And as I talk to Joshua, he's the real deal. He's not like a guy that sits back and waits for stuff to happen. So you're going to want to pay attention to what he's doing and how he's making things happen. So you know what, Joshua, I'm just gonna turn the reins over to you and tell us your story and let's see where it takes us.
Yeah. So like we were talking before, just I only started 8 years ago. I've only been doing this for 8 years. So, and it was, after 2008 when things were still kind of building up. But when I got into it, like I was telling you before, I hated spending my time. It's not that I hated it. I loved spending my time with the clients, but it was just so much of my time was spent looking for a house and finding them a house. And when you're doing that, you can only help that one client. And then you had to go back on helping somebody else or listing a house. And everybody kept telling me listings were king. Listings were what you wanted to go after. So I started focusing on that, not really understanding or knowing the reason why everybody kept saying listings were king. But once I got into it, I just kept thinking there has to be a better way to do what we're doing. All these agents were going out and they were getting one client and then working with the one client. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of the real estate roller coaster. You
Totally, yeah, because the mortgage is the same way. Mortgages have a mortgage roller coaster. So yeah, I totally get that. But explain to everybody what that is.
So the real estate roller coaster is where you sit there and you have no deals, right? And you have nothing. So what you do is you're spending your time finding somebody, talking to everybody. You're out there recruiting, doing whatever you need to get somebody. And then you get somebody and you forget to go back and continue to spend some time management on still looking for people. And you spend all your time with them because you're so worried about losing that one deal that you forget about everything else, right? So you work and you come all the way up to the peak and you close the house. And then as soon as you close the house, that's it. Now you got nothing. So now you go all the way back down to the bottom because now you're looking for somebody again and you're spending all that time. It's not very good time management. And so when I was thinking, I was like, there's got to be a better way where we can make this the solid roller coaster up, like no roller coaster, just a solid climb. And so when I started breaking down real estate and how it worked and how everything came together, I was told a lot by other brokers that don't do limited agencies, but it didn't make sense in my mind because when I'd find a listing and then I'd sell it, it was done. That was it. I made my 3% and I moved on and I had to go find somebody else. And so I was like, well, let's find a better way. So I found out early on about mega open houses. So
hold on a second. So limited agency. So limited agency, for those that don't know, is you're double siding it, right? You're representing both the buyer and the seller.
Correct.
And some people don't like that because it's like, how do you represent both sides fairly? So but you like them.
I love them, but here's what you have to do when you go into a limited agency situation. You have to be open 100% to both sides and let them know that you are going into the situation that you can no longer tell them anything about the other people. Like, so for instance, before, like I always prided myself on calling the other agent and extracting this information out of the agent that they shouldn't be telling me. It was like a game to me. I loved it, right? But now that I'm in the limited agency situation, I had to tell both sides, hey, I can't tell you what to do. You can tell me what to do. I can give you advice, but I can't tell you anything about the other side. And I've never had a problem as long as you go into it, letting both sides know that you are now just doing the paperwork. You're really helping them out, right? You've already got it under contract. You got the price that they wanted. So there really isn't any issues. In my mind, the issue is like where you list something and then you go tell somebody, oh, I know that for a fact that they'll come down to 280 instead of 290. You just can't do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. So we could actually spend a lot of time and have multiple people on here talking about the pros and cons, and somebody saying, no, I don't like him because of this. So, but let's move. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Let's just say, okay, there's limited agency. It's out there. You love them. Other people don't like them so much, but tell me why you do them and what's the benefit, why you do them.
So there's lots of benefits for doing them for me. And like I said, if you just go into it right and have the right mindset, you'll be fine. But the reason why I do them is because when I started doing, or it was part of the reason why I started doing mega open houses. And doing a mega open house brought me clients that didn't have agents. Now, if they don't have an agent, they come in, that allows me to represent both sides. So, and then my whole thought behind this was that I'm making 1% or 3% and I have a client. And obviously as an agent, we want to keep that client forever. They sell this house. Hopefully we represent them to buy the house. And when they want to sell that house, hopefully they call us, right? Yep. So I'm gaining one client, hopefully for life. Like on the back of my cards, it says your agent for life, you know, because we want to keep them for life. That every agent has that idea. But if you go a limited agency route and you do it correctly, now you have one property, but you've also gained two clients for life. And then when they sell and they buy and they're selling, sometimes I call it the inception. Have you seen that movie, The Inception?
I have.
Okay. So, you know, when we all have contingency, houses on contingency, they are absolutely hell to work with. Unless I'm limited agency on one house, I'm also representing the person selling their home, and then I'm also representing the seller buying their home. So I got 4 deals off of the 2 people, and it was all because of an open house. So now instead of just a 3% commission, I'm making 6% on that one house, I'm making 3% on the other one, and I'm making 3% on the other one. And then I continue to do the same thing and have an open house on this one and an open house on that one and try to get even more clients. So it's a perpetual snowball effect that can happen. And I don't even have to go out there and work for people. All I got to do is go to Costco, you buy some hot dogs and put some buns together and catch up. It's $100, less than $100 to throw a mega open house. And you could have 100 people show up, and whether they come for food or not. And then here's the other part about open houses. I don't know if you do, you probably don't do open houses as a loan officer, but a lot of agents, they have this acute mindset of they're having the open house to sell the house for the client, right? Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
There is a huge big picture here that if I have the open house to find a buyer for that house, and I have an open house to also show everybody in that neighborhood what I can do for them when they want to sell their house.
Because you know that people from that neighborhood is coming to see that house. You know it.
I on Thursday. So what I do is I always list the house on Wednesday. Okay. And then on the MLS, I put on there no showings until open house on Saturday. And every agent hates you. They're like, oh, we got to get in. We got to get in. I'm like, no, sorry. Open house is on Saturday. You can come in. Then on Thursday and Friday, I take my whole team and we'll take 200 flyers and we'll each go in a different direction from that house and we'll knock all the doors, invite all of the neighbors. Okay. Now there's 2 reasons why I do that. Okay. Number 1, we're introducing ourselves to the neighbors and we're inviting them to come over, have some free food. We're telling them to bring their kids. Those neighbors know somebody, a friend, a family, or somebody that they want to live close to.
Sure.
Okay? So I'm increasing my opportunity to have a limited agency on the house and sell it before we even have the open house. Okay. The second thing is I'm also letting them know that I'm having the open house and what I'm doing, because if they are looking at selling their house, now I'm in front of them. So the whole purpose of all of us agents and also loan officers, when we're talking to someone on the phone, your whole goal is to get in front of somebody. Well, now we're knocking the doors. We have a reason to knock the doors. We have a reason to talk to them. So why not just ask, right? So we're right there, and the agents go around and do all of that. They invite their friends. They invite everybody else, okay? Now, on the day of the open house, you have potential buyers. not everybody there is going to be a potential buyer. But in the mind of the potential buyer, what is happening in their mind? What do they think everybody there is for?
They think everybody else is there to buy the house. And
Exactly.
so you almost get into I'm thinking that you almost get into like an auctioneer mentality. It's just like, oh, we got to get this house.
Yeah. So what we're changing this into an abundance mentality instead of scarcity. I'm not only holding the open house just to sell this house so I can make 3%. I'm holding this open house because I have an abundance of people who I want to work with, and I'm going to show them why they want to work with me. And every open house that we've had, we've always received multiple offers on the day of the open house. I also bring my title company and my loan officer with me, and my loan officer sits right there and pre-qualifies people on the spot to buy the house so that they can sit down with one of my agents next to him and then submit the rep sheet to me. So
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you would ever fail. And Utah is not the biggest on mega open houses. Every time someone comes, they see the trailer, they see the flags, they see 50 open house signs around the neighborhood, all directing them to my house. I'll even call Tom Ferry taught me this. I had a meeting with Tom Ferry, and he told me, he said, he said, how many signs do you put up at your open house? And I said, 50. And he says, good. He goes, do you call other agents with listings in that area? And I said, no, why? I said, I want them to come to my house. He says, yeah, but don't you think they have their own database and their own thing? He goes, if you teamed up with 3 or 4 other agents that had houses in the same area and say, hey, I'm holding a mega open house, let's all do it and let's get everybody over there. And I was like, oh my gosh, blew my mind. Another reason, and we've sold houses where someone has walked from a house down the street and said, we like this house better. And they put in an offer.
Yeah.
Weren't on my list or any of my marketing schemes. So now I've times it by 5, the amount of people that get there. The house is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. And the only way to find someone willing to pay more or $10,000 more is to have a huge capacity to bring as many people as possible. Right? I'm not holding an open house to bring agents who have clients. They already see that on the MLS. I'm trying to bring as many people from everywhere. I don't care if they're looky-loos because they helped me sell the house. I don't care if they're just there for a freaking hot dog. It's a 10-cent hot dog. You know what I mean? Thank you for
totally.
And eating a hot dog and giving the kids balloons. I'll bring a tank and give the kids balloons. You know what I mean? Make them happy. I'm gaining more clients. I have a list where they sign in, they assign to one of my agents. My agents will personally walk everybody through. And when they come out, then they get their hot dog and their food.
So there's a couple things that you said. I just want to make a point is a little bit earlier, you said you just ask. And I think that's really important because most people don't realize that often you don't get the business until you ask. So you have to ask for the business, or often you're not going to get it.
No, this is what I teach in one of my classes that I teach here. The biggest misconception about sales is people believe that sales is telling, and sales is not telling. Sales is just asking. That's it.
Right.
People all day long, right? And you will kill the deal if you give out way too much information. What's that saying? Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah, right.
I keep it as simple as possible. I don't give out rates. I don't tell them what I think they could get. I'm like, hey, that is not my expertise. I'm an expert at what I do here in real estate, and this is how I'm going to help you. I have a team of loan officers that you can work with. Call these guys and get qualified. You know what I mean? But I don't tell them anything because I don't want to mislead, misdirect, or anything. But all you have to do in sales is just ask for it. That's it. You're never, what's that one saying? You're going to miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Right.
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 If you don't ever ask, you're not going to ever get a deal. So.
Right. So, to go back maybe towards the beginning. Joshua has a team of 10 buyer agents and 3 listing agents. He's not, you won't see his paperwork, or you won't see his name on any of them, on any of the the listings. You won't see his name on any of the buyer. Well, probably, I don't know if, is it none or is it like rarely?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on some, but
But rarely.
yeah,
So,
rarely.
and he does that because he's diversifying, and he's got land developments, and he's got land and other developments that he's got going on. But it frees him up just to do a lot more stuff. Because if you go back to that roller coaster where you're getting in one or two or three deals, because we talk about this in the mortgage industry as well. It's like you got, you run, and you get two or three or four deals in the pipeline, and then you're spending all your time closing them. And then the next month you go, oh crap, I've got nothing in my pipeline. So you run, you go get three or four more, and then you spend your time closing them. It's like, dude, man, get a team
Yeah.
behind you. And that's, and that took me a long time. I was a one-man dude for, I've been in this 25 years, and probably 20 of it, I was a one-man guy, and I had an assistant, but that was it. Now I have a team, and it's rare that my name goes on alone anymore, because I do what I do best. And that's going out and getting the deals in the door, doing the marketing, talking to people. And I let my team handle it, because they are so much better at it. And I don't have that roller coaster anymore. And I think that's what you were talking about too, is you don't have that roller coaster because you have a team behind you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, in essence, I don't have that roller coaster anymore, but in a way they still kind of do. But I'm trying to train them. I hold trainings every day from 1 to 2, and they come in every day from 1 to 2 o'clock, and we train on different things. But I'm training them the time management on how to do that. I'm training them on the phones. I'm training them on different scripts and memorizing different things. But yeah, um, that's the
Cool.
whole idea, is to cut out that roller coaster. I mean, you're not going to ever get ahead if all you're doing is just keep chasing your tail. So, and the
Yeah.
only way to do that is through leveraging, and you have to leverage everything that your knowledge. You have to leverage your time, and you have to leverage your space. And by building a team, it allows you to do a whole lot more. It's the same reason why everybody says, well, who's your builder? I'm like, I don't have one builder. I have 6 builders, because I can manage 10, 15 different projects. But if I was doing a project all by myself, I would only be able to do one. Between the marketing and the signs and taking the pictures and making sure the progress is still there, I wouldn't be able to do it. But now
Right.
you bring in and you leverage 6, 10 other builders, and that's how you get projects from St. George all the way up to Logan.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I love your open house strategy, because you do them so much differently. Most realtors that I talk to don't like open houses. They do it because it's expected of them, and they don't really see much results. And I think that's because the results is a direct correlation to the effort that's put in. So
Absolutely.
you're like killing it with open houses. You're like having a party there, right? You're like
Oh, we have
hot
music.
dogs. You said a trailer. Is it like a trailer with hot dogs, or is it like music? I don't know what the trailer is.
No, I just got this. I got a 16-foot enclosed trailer, and it's wrapped. And then we've got teardrop signs. We've got 8 of them that we run along the whole street. And then we've got 50 open house signs with balloons that we put with directions all around. I mean, they know that we're there. I always tell the neighbors, hey, I'm going to be playing music from 11 to 2. And just so they know that there's going to be cars, there's going to be music, there's going to be tons of stuff. And, we make it fun. We make it easy. We make it relaxed. I don't ever wear a suit. I don't ever, wear slacks and I just let people be themselves, and they love it. I've had a lot of clients, even from California. I had a loan officer call me just, it was a couple weeks ago. And he's like, I have these clients that, they don't like their agent. And I said, well, what didn't they like about him? They said, well, he's just too straight. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. They're like, and so he says, I didn't know either, but he said, I asked him, I said, well, what do you want? And they said, we want a unique buying experience, and we want an agent that's going to be able to give that to us. Now, these were people looking in Park City for $2.7 million, and they were buying cash, closing in a week, 2 weeks. And so he said, if you want to experience, I have the perfect guy for you. And
Oh
so,
yeah. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, dude, man. It's just like you've got dreadlocks. It's just like, just don't see that. And you're right. You don't wear a suit. You've got the facial hair. It's just like, talk about relaxed kind of guy. It's just like, this is the guy, right?
I've got everything from the lead singer of Korn to Aquaman to to everything. So yeah, the team calls me Jason Momoa. So it's funny. But yeah, they as soon as they saw me, I never even said a word. And as soon as he saw me, he just started yelling, "I love it. I love it." His wife came out, gave me a hug. And we've been friends. They've actually flown me down to their place in Sedona, Arizona, and on the
Nice.
course, and we've golfed. We've become friends. It's funny, like it's just it's different. It's definitely different. Like you said, I've never seen any real estate agent with dreads or a beard or, so.
I've probably seen some facial hair, just not a lot, but man, you're like full. I love the dreads. It's just like, I just couldn't. Back, I think I had talked to you a couple weeks ago when we talked about being on the podcast, and I told you I was originally a surfer skateboarder dude from California with long hair, and I just can't rock that anymore.
Yeah, I grew up in Santa Monica, 2 blocks from the beach.
Yeah.
Stuff, so.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, man, so you went from you kind of morphed from just being a real estate agent to doing some other things as well. I think you went from you have some systems in place where you're kind of out of the front end, you're, so to speak, the man behind the curtain, but you've also done some other things too. What other things have you done?
Well, so once I had perfected the open house, and I shouldn't say perfected, because I think there's always room for growth and learning there. But once I kind of got that down to a science, I sat back and I said, okay, now I've done this. What more is there to do, right? And so I started meeting with the builders and started finding out what I needed to do there. And they told me that they couldn't bring me in on deals that they already had going. Now, I'm not talking about big builders like these production builders. I'm talking about just home builders that build, 3-4 homes a year. And I would interview and find out if they wanted to go bigger, because if we teamed up, I wanted them to go bigger. So I found a couple guys and they said, look, if you find me the land, then I can guarantee you this. And so I said, okay, that's my in. So then I started going around knocking doors of a bunch of old houses in Salt Lake and Utah County, and talking to farmers and doing a bunch of stuff, which is funny because in talking to the farmers, I actually ended up getting into water shares, which I don't even know if that's part of real estate or not, but I was flipping water shares. I was buying them for $30,000 a share and selling them to developers, these big developers, for $36,000 a share. So
yeah, water is a big deal, man. I tell you.
Deal now, and it was easy because I was already talking to them about buying their land, and then I found out if they had extra watershed. Most of the farmers have extra watersheds that they're not even using. They didn't know the value of it. They bought them for a couple $100, 20, 30 years ago. Now they're worth $36,000 a water share. So that was something that I did on the side for a while. It was fun. It was just when I talked to them, but then I started writing up the contracts for the land and then taking that contract over to the builders and saying, okay, I have this at this price. This is what we could subdivide it for. And then we would start working together. And then that turned into them actually, which was great, is them having the confidence in me on what I could do. And I would go to the city meetings so that I could learn what more I needed to on a development, how it worked and how long it would take. Some of these developments from raw ground to start to dig is 2 years. It's not a very productive thing to do for 2 years. It's not something that you want to just go jump into and only do that, because it's not going to pay you for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as selling a house. It's just, but it's something that I love to do. And so once the team was going and once the open houses were going, this is what I went after. And so now I have builders in St. George that I work with. I have builders all the way up through Nephi and Cedar City and here in Utah County and Salt Lake County. I have 3 guys that we're working with. We're building a condo development right on the U, and we're selling them a condo for $800,000, and it's 10 stories tall. And all I did was knock the door of the house, and the lady's like, "Yeah, I want to sell this house." And so when I went to the city and found out we can put a 10-story condo development on her piece of land, and it's on U of U property, you know. And other ones, we have storage unit facilities that we're building out in Tooele, and I really like the condos and townhomes. Those are the best projects. But we do have commercial strip mall down in Payson. We have one out in Tooele. We have a project in Logan and one in Ogden. And then, you know, those were great. What I did is I took those projects, and every time I landed a project and we got to where we could list it. So I had to have the final plat approval. Once I had the final plat approval, then the signs go up, the names go on there, and the listings go up. So I have a couple secretaries that take care of all the paperwork for me. They'll sit there and put everything together, send it over to the builder, have them sign it, do whatever they need to do so that I'm not chasing paper and I can go around and do other things. And then the agents receive the phone calls so that I'm not taking, I have 1,400 homes right now. I would not be able to receive phone calls for projects from St. George to here. I have an office in St. George. We have an office in Richfield. I have one here in Pleasant Grove, and then I have one in Salt Lake, and then one in Logan. This is the only way I can make it work is by having an agent in every one of those spots doing that while I'm overseeing it. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's break this down just a little bit. So you've gotten these big projects all over the place.
Yeah.
And most agents don't have that, but the concept is still the same. So if you are an agent and you want to move from 1 or 2 deals a month to 3 or 4 a month, you have to have help, because you can't do it by yourself. You have to get a transaction coordinator. You've got to get something, and you've got to get help. You can't be doing the paperwork. And really what you need to find out is where do your strengths lie, so that you are only doing the things that you like to do and that you're good at and that makes you money. And then you're offloading the rest of that stuff to somebody else, a transaction coordinator, another agent that will work with you. And sure, you're not getting the entire pie, but I'll tell you what, I would rather have a slice of watermelon, a slice of watermelon than a whole grape. So,
well, I mean, I'm taking this project, for example, I have a Midvale project right here on 71 South, 16 townhomes. All I did is knock the door of one house. He said he'd sell. I went and talked to all the other ones. 4 houses sold. We just tore them down. We're starting to build them right now. So now I just gave it to one of my clients. He has 16 homes that he didn't have before. It's the same thing of buying leads. So I spend $15,000 a month on leads that I give to my agents. And then what they do as a team, how a team is set up, is they just give me 50% back of everything that they close. That's it. But now I'm one-upping on every other team out there. And now I'm saying, I have bill jobs for you to sell. Not only are you going to be getting leads from me, but now you have 16 listings. The other guy, I have out in Tooele, we have 80 townhomes that we're building out there. And then the one in Ogden is 60 homes that we're building. The Heber project is 63 homes that are going to be 800 to $1 million a piece. Now, I don't even have my name on those ones. I'm just saying, here's this, you do this, because I know that I can go out and get another project in the time that one's being done, sold. I could probably pick up 3 or 4 more projects. And if I have to, I'll just hire another agent, which I love, hire another agent, put them on a project, get them some more leads, and then let's just make some more money. And everybody makes money. I love taking everybody with me. I call my team a group, not a team. It's the Focus Realty group. It's a family. We're all there. We all help out at an open house. We all help out at a listing. We all help out everywhere. We all show up. Everybody shows up, because at one point or another, we're going to need help, or we're going to need, a lot of agents in the same office, they'll be like, hey, go do this showing for me and I'll pay you $25 or $50. My agents, we all do that for free for each other because we all need it back. Everybody takes a vacation. Everybody still has clients that have to work. So we're always there for each other. And that's why I actually called it a group and not a team.
So that's cool. I know that if a lot of agents are probably listening to this or watching it on YouTube, and they're going, I can't relate to this guy because he's got so much going on. But really, if you're listening to this, you can relate to this. You just have to scale it back, because, man, Joshua didn't start like this. Joshua started just like where everybody else started. He just started. You said what, 8 years ago?
Yeah, I started 8 years ago. Yeah.
So 8 years ago, man, he started where you are right now. He started and he's just grown this. But the key is, and you told me that there was somebody that you were on a first class flight to Australia, right?
Yeah.
And he taught you this concept of you can't do it all yourself, right? Isn't that what you were telling me?
His concept was the name. Don't.
Oh, okay.
So in real estate, everybody wants to build their name. They want their name to be out there, and that's fine. That's great. People will call you for your name. But he said, if you really want to go big and you really want to make a lot of money, he said, don't ever use your name.
Okay. So for those that want to start their business, that's really good advice. So if you want to go out and start your own brokerage, or you want to start your own team or your own group, so that's really good advice. But for those that don't aspire to that, or that are just starting out, or they're just saying, I want to build, but I don't want to go that big. It's just like, it's the same concept. I've talked to so many agents that just don't have time to go get the next deal because they're chasing paperwork, or they're making phone calls to run down an addendum or something. It's like, dude, man,
or deadlines.
Right.
Yeah.
It is not the use of your time. It's just like, that's $10 an hour stuff. It's just like, go hire somebody for 10, 15 bucks an hour and go get another deal.
Yeah.
That's how you keep that roller coaster from happening.
Yeah, exactly. I have 3 staff that are here every day. One just does the TC work. One is like my scheduler. She tells me where I'm going to be. She tells me what to do every day. And then she also does some marketing. And then I have a scrubber for all the leads that we have. She scrubs leads. She calls old leads. She's going back, 5 years ago when I started buying leads, and she's bringing out more deals. And then we're turning those back over to the agents, but she's getting a commission off of that. So, she makes bonuses. All the girls here, they make their bonuses off of that. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Actually, probably after some other time, I kind of want to talk to you about your team structure, because ours is growing too, and I always like to see what other people are doing. So we won't bore the people on the podcast, but
well, I just hired another guy just to expand even more. I just hired another guy, and he works directly with me right now. That was the one that was on the phone when we were talking earlier, right when we got on. What he is doing right now is he is only looking for flips. So he's out there knocking doors. He's out there talking to people, doing some social media working. And we've been buying homes and doing flips. We're on our second one right now. But the first flip, we made $115,000 profit on.
Oh, wow.
Flip. I put $16,000 into it. We paid $194,000 cash for it, and we were out in 3 months. So it's just another avenue to bring in.
Yeah.
Already agents might as well be doing a part of. That's why I said earlier, like, I don't know if I'm doing anything outside the realm of real estate. Every agent would love to have all of that going on. I would have hoped so, You know what I mean? But
You've just learned to manage your time. And that's what most of us need to learn, is how to manage our time and what activities should we be doing and should we not be doing. And so you're doing the $300, $400,000 an hour activities, and you're offloading the stuff that's $10, $15, $20 an hour activities.
yeah, I mean, I'm leveraging my time.
Mm-hmm.
Using my time by leveraging the stuff that I don't need to do. Everybody knows how to do paperwork. Paperwork is easy. Paperwork and deadlines is easy to follow. I have agents that sit here, they do their own deals, they still take leads, but they'll manage their time. It's leveraging everything that we have and only focusing on what, like what you said earlier, is what am I really good at? What am I? And I'm really good at getting out there and talking to people. And when I first started in real estate, I didn't have leads. I didn't have anybody helping me. Everything was call your sphere of influence and call this and that. And I'm from California, like I didn't have the sphere of influence that the Smiths had here in Utah and everybody else.
Right.
They have thousands of family members. I don't have that. So I actually started calling out of the phone book and started calling people out of the phone book and just talking to them. And then I started knocking doors. And then, one of the classes that I teach is agents get so focused on a sale and not so much of getting to know the person. When you get to know the person, you'll actually get the sell. And so it's actually reversed on how you think. So I would play a game in my head when I would go knock doors of what can I have this person show me? And so, for example, one day I said, I want this lady on the next house to show me all her pots and pans. I know that sounds so random, but
that does.
If I got her to show me her pots and pans, what does that mean I'm at? I'm in her kitchen.
You are, yeah.
Right? And being at the doorstep that's where all the walls are. As soon as you cross that threshold, you are now in their space and you are trusted. And I ended up getting a sell out of that deal when she showed me her pots and pans because her daughter needed to sell a house and buy a house. And I ended up getting that because she thought I was so nice, So having fun with everything you do is basically my motto. And just have fun. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. People do business with those they like, know, and trust.
Yes.
And, so
yes.
you said once you cross that threshold, you're in their area, you're in their space, and they're going to invite you in if they don't have some level of trust for you. So
absolutely.
So that's a great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a great point. Man, I'm like, my head's already spinning from all the info that you've provided. So hey, how can if somebody wants to reach out to Joshua, what's the best way for them to do that?
So, I mean, you can reach me on my cell phone all the time. I'm on that. I'm not taking any leads or phone calls, so I'm usually available on my phone. That's 801-995-2683, or just shoot me an email. It's joshua.nichols32@gmail.com.
Focus Realty Group, right?
Yeah, and then if anybody's looking for a home, I've built a website where people can. It's hooked up to the MLS. It's focusrealtygrouputah.com because I put the Utah on it because I was thinking ahead and I wanted to go to Colorado and Idaho, and I did this as Realty Group Utah, and then if it eventually ever goes there, then it goes there. But focusrealtygrouputah.com, people can sign in and they can see the MLS and their houses. I'm directly connected to IDX. It updates every 3 minutes, so it's actually faster than realtor.com and Zillow and those ones too. So
by far.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
And you'll get far better advice.
Yeah.
In some of those other places.
Yeah. We have connections on there. You can see the profiles of a couple of the agents that I've put on that website. You can see the loan officers that we're working with as well. Cool. So if any questions on anything, they can look those up.
Awesome. So as always, if you need to reach me or my team, you can reach us at 801-628-7667. You can call or text us there, and we're gonna wrap this one up. I appreciate you, Joshua, for taking some time today and coming on the podcast. It was a real pleasure and honor to have you on here today.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me.
All right. We will talk to you guys next week.